In 1950, China and India stood side by side, ancient civilizations, vast populations and economies nearly identical in size and poverty. Both were predominantly rural, their people's lives shaped by agriculture and the rhythms of the land. India was reeling from partition while China emerged from civil war and foreign occupation. Each faced the monumental task of forging stability, feeding millions and building a modern state from scratch. Their governments launched ambitious, state-led development plans, India with a democratic, mixed economy, China with a radical, centrally planned system. Early results were mixed. Both struggled with famines, policy missteps, and the challenge of governing immense, diverse populations. By the 1960s and 70s, the race for prosperity seemed neck and neck. Yet, beneath the surface, their political systems and strategic choices were already setting them on different paths. The seeds of China's economic surge and India's slower progress were sown in these formative years. The world had yet to notice the gap that would soon widen between these two giants. The core difference: India chose democracy, China chose one-party rule. India's parliamentary system, with its debates and coalitions, ensured freedoms but often slowed decision-making. Change in India was gradual, shaped by negotiation and compromise. China's Communist Party, by contrast, could act swiftly and decisively, pushing through sweeping reforms without opposition. This allowed China to launch bold, nationwide projects and economic policies at scale. In 1978, China's leaders opened the economy, welcoming foreign investment and unleashing market forces years ahead of India. India's major reforms came only in 1991, triggered by a financial crisis, and were more cautious and piecemeal. China's head start and unified approach gave it a crucial advantage in integrating with the global economy. India's democracy provided stability and a safety valve for dissent, but China's authoritarianism acted as a rocket booster for economic transformation. This divergence in political systems set the stage for the dramatic economic gap that followed. China's rise is visible in its world-class infrastructure. High-speed rail, vast highways, modern ports, and sprawling cities. The state's top-down planning connected factories to markets, slashing costs and powering export-led growth. India's infrastructure, hampered by bureaucracy and political wrangling, lagged far behind. China's efficient logistics and special economic zones attracted global manufacturers, creating millions of jobs and turning the country into the world's factory. This manufacturing boom lifted hundreds of millions out of poverty. India, meanwhile, missed the manufacturing wave, focusing instead on services like IT and outsourcing. While this built a thriving middle class, it failed to generate enough jobs for India's vast, low-skilled workforce. The lack of a broad-based manufacturing sector limited India's growth and inclusivity. Infrastructure and industrial policy became the great divide between the two nations. China engineered the largest urban migration in history, moving hundreds of millions from farms to cities to fuel its factories. This state-managed urbanization transformed China into an industrial powerhouse. India's urban growth was slower and less planned, leading to overcrowded cities, slums, and strained services. China invested heavily in education and vocational training, building a skilled workforce for both basic manufacturing and advanced industries. India, despite elite universities, struggled to provide quality education and skills to its masses. The gap between workforce skills and industry needs left millions underemployed. China's systematic approach to human capital was a cornerstone of its success. India's education and training shortfalls remain a major obstacle to inclusive growth. Urbanization and skills development became key factors in the widening gap. China has turned economic power into global influence, leading in trade, investing abroad, and modernizing its military. Its assertive diplomacy and economic leverage give it a strong voice on the world stage. India, respected as the world's largest democracy, is a rising power but still lags behind China in economic and military clout. Yet, India's democracy, youthful population, and culture of innovation are long-term strengths. Its independent judiciary and free press foster resilience and accountability. China faces its own challenges: an aging population, high debt, and global pushback. India's future is unwritten. If it can reform education, boost infrastructure, and expand manufacturing, it can unlock its potential. The race between these giants will shape the 21st century. The gap is real, but India's story is far from over. The next chapter depends on the choices made today.